Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful Sunday. If this is your first time viewing my channel, my name is Monica. On this channel I do DIYs, crafting, and revamps occasionally. We have 3 DIYs that we'll be getting into today, so let's start crafting. Okay, DIY number 1, we'll be making a word art sign that you can place on your tables, large size tier trays, shelves, or wherever that you want to put it. So here I'm showing you that we'll be using a mat from Dollar Tree, some greenery, some florals from Dollar Tree, and we have these free Lowe's samples for countertops that we'll be using as well. If you've seen my videos before, you know that these are easy to cut, and I think I also did like a framing out of this on a previous video. So if you want to actually see how to do a larger size, just go back and look at that video. Now here I'm just cutting off that piece at the top that has the hole because I do not want it to be seen. Now, if you want to actually have this hung, I would advise that you keep the hole up there so that you can actually thread whatever hanging device that you want to use. Now here you see me, I'm using the extra. You'll be using 3 pieces if you choose to do this particular DIY. 3 pieces of those Lowe's countertop sample piece. I'm using the leftover cut off pieces where the holes were to actually bind these pieces together. Now here you see me only binding the top portion of the sign. That is because my bottom portion will be glued to my holding piece at the bottom, and you'll see it, and it probably don't make sense right now, but you'll see what I do later. But if you're going to use something else such as a picture holder, anything such as that, now I will advise, if you're going to use those, to actually go ahead and adhere those countertop samples together from top to bottom. Okay, here you see me cutting out what we're going to actually use as our wording for our actual table decor. Okay, make certain that you're using a sharp pair of scissors because you want your lines to be very straight on this particular decor. Our next thing that we'll do is glue this to our sample pieces, countertop sample pieces that we did combine earlier. Now after that, we're simply going to decorate the top with some greenery and some flowers. And I'm going to be gluing mine to my actual stand piece. Now, like I stated earlier, you can put this into a plate holder, picture holder, or whatever. And I forgot to mention earlier that my actual stand piece is simply cardboard that came out of a shipping box that I had. Now, after we get finished gluing on our greenery and flowers, and I will be gluing this entire piece to my stand, that will complete our project for DIY number 1. And I'll also mention that make certain that if this is the back of this going to be seen by anyone, make certain that you cover it up with some shipping paper so that you can have a clean, nice look on the back as well. And that will complete DIY number 1. making some wall art using these 2 picture frames that I'm painting with the spray paint cocoa from Krylon that you see here. Once I have those spray painted, we'll begin with some dried flour from Dollar Tree, some shipping paper, burlap fabric, and the actual inside of the frame piece. So what I'm going to do first is actually glue in the actual glass piece to this frame. Once I have that glued in, I will then cover the actual piece, cover the piece that belongs into the frame with the shipping paper and the burlap fabric. Now when you're using burlap fabric and you don't want the looseness, always make certain that after you have your first glued on piece that you pull tightly, not too tight where you're going to tear anything, but you pull tightly before you glued in your actual bottom piece. And you'll see me sort of snug and do that when I get ready to do the burlap. Now once I have my burlap, I will advise that if you do choose to actually use this same piece or find this same dried flower piece at Dollar Tree, that it is extremely messy. But the picture at the end of the day, it does look nice, but it's extremely messy to work with. So be prepared to clean up. So here, like I stated before, you see me actually getting ready to glue on the actual shipping paper. Now, you can choose not to do this step. I just did not want that cream look that's on here to be in the background. I wanted the actual burlap to actually have that darker tone to it. So once like I stated earlier, once I get finished gluing this on, now I'm getting ready to put on my actual burlap piece. I'm going to glue at the end first and make certain that it's glued on well. Then I'm going to pull tightly and glue the other end on. Now once I have that all glued, I will then take my actual dried flowers and place them in the center. Now it's hard to actually glue for this hot glue to actually adhere to this burlap fabric. I think I mentioned that before. And when I'm working with this, it's sort of hard to do, but you can get it glued. So the dried flower that I actually tried to glue on, it didn't actually glue, but I did want some stickiness there to sort of hold it in place while I was working with it. So you'll see me actually gluing down some hot glue onto the burlap fabric and then sticking the actual dried flower onto that. Now once I have that dried flower in place like I wanted, I'm then going to flip it over holding it down with one hand and flipping the actual whole frame portion with the other so that it will stay in place. Now once I have that like I wanted and have it flipped over, then you will see me, I will not be able to hot glue this frame down because this is not a deep frame to where you can actually fit it back in. And you'll see right here how I'm pushing it down. You can see that it's not fitting into the frame. So I'm using duct tape just to secure this piece to hold it in. Now, if you have a deep frame, you do not have to do this step right here. But if it's not a deep frame, you will need to actually have some type of strong tape to actually hold it in. And you can go over the back, like I stated before. If this is going to be seen or whatever, you can go over the back with some shipping paper, and that will complete DIY number 2. Okay, as you can see here, we'll be using the adhesive vinyl plank flooring from Lowe's, some styrofoam, and here's the second frame that you saw me spray paint earlier, and our wording. Our wording has dried, and I did use like 3 coats of paint on that. So now what I'm getting ready to do is glue down. Even though this have an adhesive backing to it, I like to give a extra hold by applying some hot glue to it. So that's what I'm doing here. I will peel off the actual sealing from the actual vinyl planks and glue those down to the styrofoam. Now once I have those glued into place and how I want it, I will place it back into the frame to make certain that everything fits. And as you will see later, I will show you that I have some left out styrofoam. So what happened is that when I glued it down, it sort of shifted up, and that caused everything to be a little bit off. But no worries, it was a quick fix. All I had to do was use my X-Acto knife and trim off that edge piece, and everything still fit fine. So after that, once everything is fitted properly, we will then just glue on our wording with some Mod Podge, place it in the frame, and I will turn it over, and then just to give this a good seal in, I will put some duct tape on this. Even though it fits down in there really good, I'm going to use duct tape instead of the hot glue. Now you can use hot glue if you want to. I'm using the duct tape because I know that I'll be using this frame again, and I did not want to have to tear out those planks from the from the frame. Now once I have all that done, I'll then glue on the wording with some Mod Podge, and I will also go over the top of the wording with some Mod Podge as well to make sure that they're actually sealed in real good. Now on all art pieces, word art pieces, wall art pieces that we've had to actually tear framing out, I always advise to use some shipping paper to clean up your backing if it's going to be seen. Mine, I know that it's not going to be seen, so I'm not going to waste time to actually put the shipping paper on there. But if this is something that's going to be the backing that's going to be seen, or if you're going to be doing this as a gift for someone, just make certain that you always clean it up with some shipping paper. That will complete our DIY number 3. As always, thank you all for viewing my channel. If you haven't done so as of yet, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit that thumbs up button to like this video, and also make certain that you hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. You can also follow me on Instagram at UKNEIK.